In Mahmoud Fana, occupants of the houses affected had to seek refuge at the village school, situated in the outskirts of the community. A situation they said makes things worse. The Imam of the village and the National Assembly member for Nyamina described the incident a nightmare. Their plea to the general public is that of immediate help. This incident, experienced for the first time in these rural settlements, is really worrisome for poor communities who depend on their sweat for survival. For Grts News, I am Fatou Jassi.
The Gambia Armed Forces will conduct a live firing exercise at Lance Corporal Bojang Range in Brikama from Friday 31st August to Saturday 1st September 2012. A news release from the military urges the general public, especially those living in Brikama and its satellite villages, to avoid the area during the period. There is an outbreak of cholera in Sierra Leone and Guinea-Conakry, but there are no reported cases in the Gambia. A media release from the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare states that the highly infectious disease that can kill within hours if left untreated can be spread rapidly from person to person via contaminated food or water. Victims, the release adds, develop severe diarrhea with or without vomiting. People with severe diarrhea and vomited should report to the nearest health facility. Individuals traveling to the sub-region are advised to properly wash hands with soaps and water, clean vegetable and fruits thoroughly before eating, prepare and pre-pack their own drinking water and foodstuff to be used during the trip. Reheat leftover foods thoroughly before eating, drink from safe and protected sources of water, dispose human feces safely, as well as avoid or minimize public gathering. The release adds all health facilities, especially those located on the border, are well equipped and ready to handle suspected cases of cholera. There is no need for panic, and the support and cooperation of the general public is highly solicited. The dispatch ends. Officials of the Gambia Radio and Television Services, backed by the people of Kabakel, have descended on the institution's farm in the West Coast region settlement to remove weeds. Fatou Jassi reports Thursday's exercise reinforced Grts' readiness to contribute to the country's anti-hunger crusade.
Solidarity demonstrated by natives of Kabakel village on this goose weeding exercise on one of the numerous farms owned by the state broadcaster depicts a solemn quest to combating hunger, thus attaining the country's food security drive. Looking at the shape and size of the farm, coupled with a little more effort, volunteers are optimistic of a bumper harvest.
If you consider this year, we have a lot of rainfall, and then we're expecting more to come. Yeah, so I'm definitely expecting a bumper harvest this year,
Is the land fertile also?
Not actually much, but we will definitely want it, if we could have fertilizer from you people, so that we can just spread it within the coast.
For an institution best known for showcasing farming activities, possessing its own farmland can only augur well for the institution.
And not even broadcasting, that's not the only job. If you say Grts, that's the only job they have to do. Providing this, it will help them in the other way around. Even not in broadcasting, maybe they can need it another day.
According to Kitimane, a member of the farm committee, this is one of the biggest farms operated by the institution, adding that come September they are expecting a huge turnover from the farm. The Back to the Land bandwagon has everyone on board, and officials of Grts are no exception.
Grts is not only for microphone and camera. We do implement what we talk and do the program as what Bakar Fat is doing. We do want to implement that. This is not the first year, not the second year, not the third year. Grts is involved in farming. But anyway, we are so impressed.
For years now, the national broadcaster has been operating farms in various parts of the West Coast region, a move officials of the institution says forms part of efforts to help in the Eat What You Grow and Grow What You Eat philosophy. For Grts News, I am Fatou Jassi.
You can monitor Grts Radio Live on our website at www.grts.gm. We'll be back with more stories right after this short break. And over now to news from beyond our borders. The United Nations has dispatched fact-finding teams to the Democratic Republic of Congo following reports of the death of hundreds in North Kivu. Thousands of civilians have been displaced as a result of fighting between the Congolese army and several groups. We have details in this CFI report.
The United Nations has sent 4 fact-finding missions to the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Hundreds of women and children are reported killed by armed groups in the remote Masisi territory in North Kivu. Thousands of civilians are fleeing attacks.
Our teams have documented serious human rights violations through attacks in at least 45 villages, very likely more. Some of these villages have been burned in their entirety. There have been thousands of civilians displaced due to the attacks.
The Congolese army has been fighting a losing battle against several armed groups over the past months. One of the groups, the M23, is made up of army deserters. United Nations forces have pulled out of large areas close to the border with Rwanda.
What we're seeing in many of these provinces and remote areas are armed groups taking advantage of a security vacuum to expand their territory, seeking basically access to mines, to other economic resources.
250,000 civilians are fleeing fighting close to the borders with Uganda and Rwanda. The security vacuum has meant that killings by armed groups, including Hutu extremists from the FLDR and the Raya Mutumboke, continue.
The estimated 600,000 Palestinians living in Syria have been bystanders in the fighting raging there, but the situation has now changed, for the Syrian Palestinians are now joining the ranks of the Free Syrian Army. The group of fighters say they decided to take up arms because of the Assad regime's attack and other forms of violations. Let's look at this report for more on that.
Urgency is matched only by the insurgents' resolve to bring him down. Despite the regular army's devastating bombardments, the Free Syrian Army does succeed in inflicting harm on the loyalist forces, like here in Taftanaz, a town strategically located between Idlib and Aleppo. They attacked the region's main military airport with tanks and machine guns. As a result, at least 5 helicopters were grounded. The insurgents even succeeded in downing a fighter jet on Thursday. Its pilots were able to escape. Meanwhile, despite constant shelling in the southern neighborhoods of the capital to push back the rebels, fighting resumed in Kabun and Tadamon. Pictures aired by Reuters show the damage, but also reveal another development in the Syrian crisis. Kept in a passive refugee status up until now, the country's Palestinian community entered the battle on the side of the insurgents. Carrying arms and wearing masks, they explain how and why they chose their camp. We are the Free Youth of Palestine, Al-Aqsa Brigade. We live in Tadamon and a Palestinian camp. The regime and its Shabiha bombarded us with artillery, tanks, mortars and planes, burned houses and stole assets, arbitrarily arrested citizens of the region, not distinguishing between Palestinians and Syrians. Syria's Palestinian population, estimated at around 600,000, all Sunnis, like the majority of Syrians, had long remained on the sidelines of the crisis. Mortar fire in early August against their camp in Yarmouk killed 20 people and injured 65, convincing them that it was about time to take sides.
Israel's Supreme Court has ordered settlers living on an unauthorized Jewish settler outpost built on Palestinian land to vacate the area. And a local mine explosion in a Chinese province has killed 19 miners. Rescuers are making frantic efforts to save 28 other miners who remain trapped. Let's look at this roundup of news for more on those and other stories.
Big Bang Theory and Newton's apple were some of the themes explored during the opening ceremony of the London 2012 Paralympics, attended by 80,000 spectators. Led by Stephen Hawking, the world-famous scientist who's been